Welcome, Mons. This is your average moviegoer here, Mikey Khan, and welcome to Khan's Potatoes. Now, before I get started, I need to hot up my drink. So, Gerard, you here, boy? Come on. Light up my drink for me, please. Atta boy. Later. Anyway, today's film I'm here to talk about is a recently live-action remake of 2010's version of How to Train Your Dragon. That's right, the first ever Dreamworks Animation live-action remake of the entire studio. They decided to go with How to Train Your Dragon. Which would make sense, of course, because you can't really live-action remake films like Shrek, Madagascar, or fucking Trolls or anything. Anyway, the 2025 live-action remake version of How to Train Your Dragon, the story takes place as this. It takes place on a small Viking village called Berk. A bunch of Vikings live there on that island, and they are right now in a war dispute against these dragons all around the land. A young outcast teenager named Hiccup. He is the son of the head chieftain of the entire village of Berk. Hiccup has always been underestimated a lot because of his size and because he's not Viking material, like he can't kill a dragon. Well, he wants to prove to people and himself that he is a true Viking warrior and that he can capture and kill a dragon. One night, during a battle, he launches a bolo cannon that takes down one of the most rare dragons you can see, a Night Fury. One day, he goes looking for the Night Fury in the woods, and he finds him tied up with his bolo. As he attempts to kill him, he couldn't really kill him. He basically saw himself, and then eventually befriends the dragon, and then discovers that the humans, aka the Vikings, and the dragons themselves, they're not so different. I mean, they're pretty much the same. Like, pretty much fighting for survival, too. Because all these so-called dragons that lay and reside in this big nest, they're basically slaves for this big demon dragon that's living below them. Taking all their food, their freedom, and free will. Hiccup, convinced by his father, or maybe so-called convinced, is later signed up to go into village Viking training in order to prove to himself that he truly can be a Viking warrior himself. As Hiccup and the Night Fury dragon, aka Toothless, form a big bond together, Hiccup also proves to the village people that he can be a top slayer for dragons, even though he hasn't really slayed any dragons in the practice field. But then after everybody learns the truth of Hiccup not being the dragon slayer, his father, the chieftain, along with the village people, the Vikings, go out to the dragon's nest to fight off all these dragons without knowing the truth about the head demon dragon that's truly causing all the problems and the war dispute. It is up to Hiccup, his love interest Astrid, and the rest of all the kids in the training program to stop the head dragon by any means necessary. What I like about this film is this. It is the first ever live-action remake produced by Dreamworks Animation Studios, the same studios that produces many animated films over the years, such as Ants, Shrek, Shark Tale, Madagascar, Over the Hedge, Shrek 2, Shrek the Third, The Bad Guys, and so much more. This live-action remake does show promising potential on future potential live-action remakes too. Whereas Disney live-action remakes, they just, some are garbage, some are like obnoxious, some are not necessary, and some are just desperate for attention. Well, not many of them are actually desperate for attention to make all the moolah on the box office they can. I mean, that's what Disney is. I mean, yeah. Also, the performances of the following characters were great, such as Thames, who played the live-action version of Hiccup. He was actually quite good in that film, I'll give it that. Also, there's Nico, who played the character of Astrid, Hiccup's love interest, who's actually the daughter of actress Sandy Newton. Yep, so, I mean, she definitely looks and sounds a lot like her own mother, so we all know where she gets her acting from. Also, Nick Frost, who plays Gabriel the Belch, who trains all the kids in the Viking training program. But then another thing I liked about this film is not only the visual effects of the dragons, but the character of the chieftain himself, played by none other than Gerard Butler, who voiced the original character of the chieftain in the 2010 version of How to Train Your Dragon, animated version, which is pretty cool, really cool. And now, let's go see what film I give this version of How to Train Your Dragon live action version 2025 out of 10 based on how many potatoes I have in my kitchen. So there you have it. My official score for the film, the live action version, 2025 version of How to Train Your Dragon, out of 10 based on how many potatoes I have in my kitchen. If you haven't already, please like, follow, subscribe, comment potatoes on YouTube and Instagram. And as always, stay cool, Mons. Toothless, let's dance.